I understand spirituality as being part of who we are. It's an aspect of what it means for us to be human. And it's the aspect of us that enables us to find meaning and purpose and value in life. It's sort of a reflexive kind of thing, that as I find something that's meaningful to me, it in turn gives my life a sense of meaning. As I find that I have a purpose in doing something, it gives my life a sense of purpose. In this, spirituality is really about the human spirit. It's not about whether or not we have a belief in God, a higher power, celestial beings, spiritual laws, or any of those things. Instead, it's about what we bring into life. It's about us. It's about our spirit. In saying that, I also acknowledge that I do have a belief in God. It's something that I value a great deal. But I don't think anybody else needs to believe in God, and I don't think that anybody needs to believe what I believe. But today I want to talk a little bit about what it is that I do believe about God. Because sometimes I'm asked the question, what is it that you actually believe? What is your concept of God? So that's what I want to talk about today. And in doing so, maybe I'll say some things that will give you something to springboard off of to help define your own beliefs. But again, you don't need to believe what I do. As I'm talking, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel as well as to click the bell so you're notified of future videos. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, out in the country. It's a region where there are more cloudy and rainy days than there are sunny days. The backyard of my family's home opened into a large field, and as you went over that field and down the hill, there was a stream of water. Often, thick, dense fog would rise up in the morning and fill the field behind the house, as well as envelop our house. My experience of God in meditation is a lot like that fog. It's like walking into that field covered in fog. And I would only be able to see 2 or 3 feet in front of me in the dense fog. But I could feel the fog, and I had a sense of it around me and enveloping me. And that's part of my experience of God in deep meditation, that I have a sense of a presence around me that's enveloping me. I don't understand it. I don't see very far. I can't comprehend what's there. Yet I know that it's there and that it surrounds me and supports me. There's a text in the English mystical tradition called The Cloud of Unknowing. My experience is sort of like the title of that book. There's this cloud, this fog, that's an experience of unknowing, of not knowing what all is there, not being able to comprehend it, it being too big for me. But yet, it's a cloud of knowing something that's there and experiencing it. And experiencing it is affirming and enveloping me. So that's one dimension of my experience and belief in the divine. I grew up in a Christian family, and from my Christian upbringing, I was taught that God is a Trinity, 3 persons in one, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I never understood that. I couldn't get my head around that. I don't think most people can. However, I had some insight into something about that through prayer. I sat with an Eastern Orthodox icon of the Trinity. It's an icon where 3 angels are seated at a table sharing a simple meal. And as I prayed with the icon, what I realized was that the image of the icon was very much about the connection these 3 angels shared. There are times whenever we have meals with people that it's really just about the eating. We just sit down and eat and move on with our life. But there are times when a meal is about that communion, that connection, the fellowship, the being together. There's a dynamic that happens that's larger than the actions of the meal, than the actual eating. so that it's not only nourishing our bodies, but nourishing our spirits. And I realized that at the heart of God is this sense of relationship. It's a relationship that's like that mealtime that's about community and fellowship and richness. What's interesting about the icon of the Trinity is that as you sit with it, the front of the table is open. It's as though it's an invitation to sit down and join that meal, join in the communion shared by those angels, the angels that represent God. So for me, God is about the relationship, that hospitality and welcoming of people into the very life that is God. And so my first experience with God is like that fog, that knowing and unknowing. It's about welcoming me into a relationship and the dynamic of a relationship. But then there's a third aspect that I draw from the Hebrew scriptures, from the book of Genesis, the book of beginnings. It's the second story of creation. Now, many people don't realize that there are two stories of creation in the book of Genesis. The first is the story of days, that one day God created this, the next day God created that. But the other story depicts God bending down and forming humanity out of the clay of the earth, drawing us up out of the earth, and then breathing into us the breath of life. The word that's used for breath of life is ruah. Ruah is a word that has several meanings. It means life, it means breath, it means spirit. What the story is conveying is that who we are, what animates us, what gives us life, is this very essence of the divine. And that's something I hold on to that's very important to me. That inside each person is this spark of the divine, this breath of the divine, this spirit, and that is our life. It's a life we share with each other, it's a life we share with the divine. So that as I grow and my life unfolds, ideally what's happening is that I'm learning to live more in tune with the divine within me. So those are the three major aspects of my belief in God. It's not really dogmatic. It's not a very simple statement, but that's who I know God to be. And in sharing that, I'm hoping that maybe you're given some ideas to think about, to spring off of, that will be helpful for you. Of course, if you're trying to articulate this sense of who God is, this sense of mystery, this sense of the divine, working with a spiritual director can be very helpful as you come to be able to articulate that. So if you're interested in spiritual direction, reach out to me. But what's important to realize is that your beliefs, your experience need to be your own. You need to own them and not be concerned with whether or not they're in tune with other people's beliefs. Thanks for your time today. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, like the video, share it, leave me some comments, and know that I appreciate the time you spend on Spirituality Beyond Borders.